Hey homie, welcome back. I hope you're having a good Thursday. Back here playing Kingdom Hearts.
Bruce and Bob back again with episode 2.
Episode 2. Can I go gather supplies? Sure, baby. I think Kari was like my first animation crush. I don't know if you ever had an animation crush, but like, when I was a kid I was like, oh, she's so pretty. Look at her with that short hair and that little outfit.
Fucking pedo.
No, I'm not saying now.
Fucking
I'm saying
pedo.
like when I was a kid, bro.
Alright, so in our episode 1, I kind of introduced the new series where we're going to be talking about current events. And, something all over the place right now is the death of... What band was that?
Linkin Park.
I am so not prepared for this right now.
It's cool, dude. We were prepared for this earlier, but then we lost all of the footage.
Yeah,
Something
so
happened
this is
to
a redo. So
yeah, we're kind of redoing this. Speaking of redos, I actually hate this part of the game because it's so hard. I feel like they don't give you really any instruction on where to go. But I know where it all is now because I played a game. So if you ever played this game as a kid and felt like you were retarded like I did because you couldn't figure it out, it's not you. It's the developer's fault. That's all I'm going to say on that.
maybe the developer is just a genius and he doesn't know it and he's just making things that are easy for him.
Yeah, he's just like, why don't you get this?
Yeah.
So yeah, something we want to do with this series is that we're going to talk about current events.
Yeah.
And we're going to be a little bit behind because of how we make the videos and how they come out. But we're basically really just going to be giving our take on the situation. And we hope that's something you can enjoy. And
If you're interested in a bunch of uneducated, degenerate opinions.
Uneducated, just...
Yeah, we're really pieces of scum, guys. Don't use this as role models.
Yeah, we don't know too much.
But in all seriousness, Linkin Park singer Chester Bennington was found dead by suicide. He hung himself.
Sad.
It is tragic, that we lost someone who had such a positive message to spread.
Yeah, he was.
And he helped a lot of people throughout throughout their times.
Yeah, he was definitely one of my favorite bands. I can remember as a kid, my dad had a Linkin Park album, and he was one of the first. Really one of the first bands that I really got into as a kid. It wasn't even one of their big albums. It was a Reanimation album, and I just loved it as a kid. Just their whole thing. Like, it was just one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about a lot of what people go through, when they feel like no one understands them or if they feel distant from people in general. And you might not realize these things as a kid. Like, I didn't realize what I was going through as a kid because how could you? Like, I couldn't comprehend my emotions.
Right.
But, but I did relate to something in their songs. Like, I did enjoy listening to them. I didn't necessarily know why until I listened back now.
Right.
Then I'm like, oh, I can relate with so much of what these people are saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, you hear a lot of stuff about, like, being frauds with the music industry in general. Like, not necessarily Linkin Park. I don't know if people think that about Linkin Park or people think about that about certain bands. What I'm trying to get at is they're the most genuine you can get in that industry. You know what I mean? They weren't faking it. He really was going through that depression. He really was dealing with drug addiction. And that's as authentic as you can be. He's not a sellout. He wasn't trying to sell to a niche audience. He just really felt this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, this kind of proves it. I mean, as sad as it is.
Yeah. But in another way, it kind of cements him in, like, rock and roll Hall of Fame that, he was legit. He wasn't faking his what he felt about this world, He wasn't trying to make a buck. He really was singing what he felt.
Yeah, and I mean, listening to the songs, you can tell, because it doesn't sound like some generic, feels like depressed music.
Yeah.
It seems like it's personal to him.
Right.
You can feel it just in the way he sings. But yeah, so he was found. He took his own life.
Yeah.
And,
I believe he was found at 9 o'clock in the morning, and he was hanging. He's leaving behind 6 kids from 2 wives.
Oh wow.
I feel really bad for those kids. I feel like lose your father. Do you want to talk about the incidents of what we read?
Yeah. So it's always it's not as interesting. I shouldn't say that, but I'm curious as to why someone could have so much success and money and from the outside in, it looks like they're leading like the life everyone wants to live.
Exactly.
People want to have these lives and they still take their lives. And I was interested, so I looked into the childhood and the background of Chester, And it turns out he's actually been heavy into drugs. He's a known drinker. He's been through intervention and all that. And what sparked all this is I was reading an interview of his, and he was molested as a young boy by a childhood friend. Yeah.
How old was he?
I don't remember how old he was. Oh, he was around the age of 7.
Okay. So you said a childhood friend, so it wasn't like a family member. It wasn't an older man. It was a
it was a childhood friend. He said it started as just playing like touch play stuff. Like, what does this do? And it started off like that, and then it escalated. And sooner than later, he was being forced to do things he didn't want to do.
Oh, man.
And the worst part about it, in my opinion, is he kept quiet about it for 6 years.
Well, he just feels so,
Yeah, he said he didn't want to come out as gay, or he didn't want to come out to his parents about it.
He didn't want people to think he was gay. He didn't want people to think he was lying.
Which is ridiculous, right?
Well, you know what it is? It's just that people in that situation, they feel so much guilt.
They feel like, oh, okay.
In a way, they can feel like it's their fault.
Yeah.
Which is terrible.
I mean, he kept it quiet for 6 years, so it would probably be that way. That would probably be the case. Wow. And the thing is, his parents actually went through a divorce, and he had no one to communicate with. Unless, the divorces don't usually end in bad for the kids unless, the mom or dad disappears, and that that dynamic, that family dynamic, isn't there anymore. Which is what happened to him. His mom kind of disappeared, and his dad was a detective, so he was working long hours and never really got to, bond with his child, I guess. And even after divorce, he was quiet for 3 years. Like 2 years, 3 years, he was quiet even after the parents got divorced. So he was just holding all this stuff inside. And you can only imagine how that would make someone feel.
Yeah, that's so tough. Like, a divorce is already hard enough for a kid. And then to deal with all this stuff, maybe he even felt like it was his fault,
Maybe, yeah. It's hard to imagine what's going through a kid like him.
Yeah, so what we're basically trying to say is that people, there's a lot of comments about him online that I saw that I thought were very distasteful. And I just feel like people need to, come from a place of sympathy and not come to a place of judgment. Because just because someone has financial success doesn't mean that they're not going through something terrible in their lives. I feel like it has a lot to do with American culture, that we feel that, because someone has experienced success or has being financially well off, that suddenly their problems are invalid in a sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah, honestly, that extends into just, you don't even have to be rich. Like, if you're a guy in America and you start complaining about your problems, you hear the infamous phrase, stop being a bitch, or just handle your problems. And it might seem that easy, but when you're inside of that person's life, when you're actually living it, it's not so fucking clean cut.
Yeah.
And with that said, if you guys are going through anything and you feel like there's no one to
talk
to,
or girls.
Yeah, when I say guys, I mean just people listening. If you are going through something and you feel like there's no one there for you, it really isn't true. You might be surrounded by the most toxic people, but there are people around that do care.
Absolutely.
That does still exist. It's hard to believe when your whole life you've been just dealt with shitty people and you feel like it's all your fault, and you feel like nothing's ever gonna change. I've been in that position a few times, but you just have to communicate with people who actually care, and it's easy to tell who cares.
Yeah,
it really is.
You gotta really know who your friend is. If someone's putting you down, it's harder to tell when you're young.
Yeah.
But you have to realize that it's not your fault. What the fuck did this guy go?
Right. Even if you did something ridiculous, there are better ways to go about approaching you than belittling you, or making you feel like, you're wrong, or
shit.
You might have been wrong, but the thing is, I'm trying to say here is, there's better ways of approaching someone on a mistake they've done.
Yeah.
Than belittling them or making them feel like it's the end of the world. And
right. You can be a friend to somebody, and I think that's a lot in guy culture too. It's kind of one of the ways we show that we love each other. It's kind of we're like, I fucking love you, and you're kind of hitting the guy, kind of being a little rough. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of male culture, but also sometimes when someone's in a place of hurt, you have to be aware of that.
Well, it's hard to be aware because you're kind of taught to repress those feelings.
Yeah, it's a strange part of American culture that we don't really talk about.
Yeah, dude. as a guy, I can't just start crying to a stranger.
Right.
Not even like I can't start crying to a friend. Most of my friends, I can't just go and like talk out my problems and cry.
Right.
Like that will never happen because I know the judgment I would get for them. But then again, that probably just means that they're not really my friends. Like
Right.
they're not willing to understand that I'm going through something.
Yeah.
But it's probably the same for them too. That's probably what they see.
Yeah.
So that's what they give back.
Right. Absolutely. But yeah, just because someone's bringing you down, don't be feeling like that's your fault. Like you're always welcome to, talk to us or whatever.
Yeah.
We're very kind people, and we want to make sure that people out there who are suffering from depression can realize that.
I mean, we can't help you. You're the only person that can help you is
but
yourself.
don't be afraid to talk to somebody about your problems.
Exactly.
It's kind of the message I want to send. Like,
yeah.
It sucks when you hear a story like that from this superstar, and as a child, he kept it inside because he felt like he had no one to go to. So if you feel like you have no one to go to, like go to a police officer, go to a parent, go to someone you can trust.
Yeah, go to a teacher you like at school.
Yeah, go to a teacher, anybody, and there's someone out there that will help you, and don't think that no one's gonna help you. Is what I want to say. That's all. That's the kind of message I want to leave it on. I'm gonna leave it right there. All right, homie. Well, we hope you come and see us next Tuesday and play some more Kingdom Hearts with us. Well, actually, not yet. Let me end it on the cinematic. Let's end it on a happy note. See if we can get some stuff going on here. Actually, wait, no, I don't want to talk about the cinematic. Oh, not yet. That's not a good idea because.
All right, we'll catch the next one.
Yeah, sorry guys. See you on Tuesday, homie.